and welcome back to the Imperfectly Paige Wellness YouTube channel. This video is going to be all about the top 5 reasons that you are probably thinking about food all day, and the key thing here is that none of them have anything to do with willpower. But to start, this is Cannoli, and he's going to be wandering around, so if you hear tippy tappies during this video, it's him. But anyways, yeah, so to start out, like I said, these are the 5 main reasons that you're probably thinking about food all day that have absolutely nothing to do with your willpower. Number 1 is going to be you are under eating protein. Protein is probably, I would argue, the most important of all of the macronutrients. It is responsible for so many different things in your body, from building muscle, of course, because we always hear bodybuilders talking about that, but lack of protein in your diet can also cause things like intense hunger, and that is because your body needs protein to be broken down into amino acids so that it can use those as building blocks for all of the different functions of proteins in your body, such as hormone creation and like cellular function. Proteins are responsible for so many things, and if you're not eating enough protein, that can cause you to become very hungry. And so I definitely always recommend people eat between 0.8 and 1 gram per pound of body weight, or ideal body weight. So if you are someone who has some weight to lose, you don't necessarily need to be eating, for example, like 250 grams of protein, but you do want to make sure that you're eating enough protein, and it's actually one of the only macros that I recommend people count to start out, because you really do need to make sure you're eating enough protein. Super important. You want to get that in. Another thing to note is that if you notice that when you eat protein, your stomach hurts, that could be because you don't have enough stomach acid. Stomach acid is super important. It's also called hydrochloric acid. This is because it's important because stomach acid breaks down or denatures proteins in your stomach so they can turn into the amino acids that your body can use as building blocks to make those other compounds that they need. It also converts an enzyme called pepsinogen into pepsin, which is an active form of that enzyme. And so if you don't have enough stomach acid, you won't have enough dietary enzymes, digestive enzymes, to break down that protein effectively. And so that's why it's super important to make sure you are supporting your body's production of stomach acid as well. Okay, reason number 2 why you might be thinking about food all the time is that you are not eating enough food. I know that this sounds ridiculous, especially if you think, oh, but Paige, like, I'm in a fat loss phase, I can't be eating that much food. You still need to be eating enough food for your body to perform everything that it needs to do to keep you healthy. So this is literally things like keeping your brain running, keeping your hair and skin and nails regenerating. All of those base things that we don't really think about get affected when you start restricting your calories. And so you need to make sure that you are still eating enough. One thing I really like to stress for women especially is that the estimated energy recommendation intake for women ages 18 to 50 is 2,403 calories, not 1,200. 1,200 is the recommendation for a toddler. And so if you're watching this video and you're understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth, chances are you need to be eating more than a toddler. Up those calories, even if you're in a cut, and I promise you, you're gonna stop thinking about food and you're probably going to see some weight loss as well. All right, the 3rd reason why you're probably thinking about food all day is because you're restricting carbohydrates and or sugar. When you restrict something, your body is going to want it more. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're telling yourself that you can't eat it, chances are you're gonna want it. Want an example of this? Don't think about a white elephant. You're probably thinking about a white elephant. Our brains are hardwired to want things that they are told that they can't have. And so when you're restricting entire food groups, especially one like carbohydrates, this is going to be a mental game that you don't need to be playing in order to live a healthy lifestyle. And it also is going to be a physical thing as well, because carbohydrates are the preferred fuel of your brain and the only fuel that your red blood cells can use. And so if you are restricting them so low that your brain needs to really try extra hard through your body creating ketones to use instead, whole separate process there. It still is a stressor on your body. Your body is going to crave those carbs even more, and so it can make it highly likely that you're going to break your diet and eat those carbs and then feel bad about it and get into a restrict and binge cycle, which is something that I really talk about a lot in my Gut Instinct program, because this is such a toxic cycle. And the thing is, you don't need to restrict carbs or sugar in order to lose weight. In fact, I recommend that my clients eat at least one dessert a day if it's something that makes them feel complete at the end of the day. Even when I was going through my biggest bout of orthorexia, I never skipped dessert. It was my favorite meal of the day. And even now, I still have dessert like every single night. And I'm talking like, not like a date ball or some other healthy thing. I'm talking about like right now in my freezer, I have a Trader Joe's wild berry cheesecake ice cream. Divine. You do not have to restrict carbs and sugar in order to lose weight. Reason number 4 that you're probably thinking about food all day is that you're not getting enough sleep. I know that everyone says sleep is for the weak. That is not true. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That is not true. You need to get proper sleep for your hunger to be regulated properly. One night of bad sleep can actually lead to differences in your hormones, specifically in leptin, which is the hormone that tells your body, tells your cells that you are full and you don't need any more food. It downregulates that, so it means it makes less of it. And it upregulates ghrelin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. It tells your body, hey, we're hungry, we need food. And it dysregulates your insulin as well. Insulin is responsible for taking all of the blood sugar in your blood and pushing it into your cells so that they can use it as fuel. And after one night of poor sleep, this is a very famous study, after one night of poor sleep, you are just as insulin resistant as someone with type 2 diabetes, even if you don't have type 2 diabetes. You're not imagining things when you think that you're super hungry and want to eat everything in your kitchen the day after you get a bad night's sleep. That is actually something that's happening to you. So by prioritizing sleep, you're going to be able to keep all of those hormones regulated in your body and just generally not need to think about food as much. And the last reason that you, in this list anyway, that you might be potentially thinking too much about food is that you're doing too much intense exercise. HIIT workouts, like high intensity interval training, can be really great for some people during certain periods of their lives, but a lot of the time it doesn't necessarily mean that more is better. In fact, more is usually worse. HIIT workouts can lead to really stressing your body out and have it overproduce the stress hormone cortisol. Now, cortisol is responsible for being activated when your body is under stress and when it is in fight or flight mode. So when you get like all riled up and stressed out and you kind of feel that tingly surge, that is cortisol doing its job. It starts to break down glycogen, so stored sugar in your body, and push it into your blood really quickly so that you have the energy to either fight or flee. However, if you're doing that constantly and chronically, and cortisol is constantly breaking down all of that, it's going to raise your blood sugar. When your blood sugar raises, insulin is going to push it down. When that happens, your body is going to signal that you're hungry because your blood sugar dropped. You need to be managing your exercise effectively, and you do need to switch the whole mindset between, oh, I exercised so I can eat this, to I'm eating this so that I can allow myself to exercise. In that specific case, I'm talking about carbohydrates. If you are eating a very low carb diet and you're trying to do a lot of high intensity exercise, those two things do not mesh. That is definitely something else that I cover inside my Gut Instinct program, and it is something that really helps you go through the nitty-gritty of all of the 5 points that I just listed so that you can actually figure out a way to lose fat effectively, to boost your metabolism, and to just not have to think about food all the time, because that's definitely a trap that I had caught myself in years ago, and it's something that I'm really passionate about now, into helping my clients not have to deal with that. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and all the other weird things that people say on YouTube, because this is really the first YouTube video that I'm filming and putting together. But if you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. And I will also be linking my gut instinct program in the description box below, so feel free to check that out to see how you can work with me to overcome anything that we just talked about today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.